Good everyone, welcome to today's video. Today it's another subscriber replay, this time sent in by MrCatt. Now, those of you who may remember MrCatt from the Yak 9p Good Sportsman video, he's actually sent one in, and well, I'm glad. In his email, he was stating about how his grammar may be off, and to be honest, I suspect I know the cause. Looking at the language in game from his game chat, I think it's Polish. I may be wrong, but it looks Polish to me. Obviously, he may correct me, but it does look Polish. I'm not gonna lie. I used to have a Polish friend at my primary school when I was young. His name was Marcin, nice lad, and well, he even taught me a bit of Polish. But anyway, less about that. Let's go into what vehicles he used for this battle. So I'm just going to briefly get the second vehicle up. He started out in the IS-2 mod 1944, which I still have to spade and everything. I haven't even driven it once. But this giant beast is a battle rated 6.3 heavy tank. Obviously, I don't know what BR it is in arcade. It's probably like 7. It's like 6.7 or 7.0. No, it's 7.0 in arcade. Or 6.3, sorry. Well, see, T44 is 7.0. Fair enough. But MrCatt was obviously spading this thing. I still need to get started on it, as I mentioned. Same with the T44 100. But the IS-2 1944 is basically an up-armored IS-2. Its gun mantlet has changed, its front glacis has changed, the lower glacis has not, and just overall the armor has become a little bit thicker whilst the gun has stayed the same. It's also had a dish gun mounted on the top, which can rotate to the forward. It doesn't stick like that, it rotates to the forward position. Very useful for taking down aircraft, I would presume. But MrCatt isn't going to do any of that in this battle. And obviously the T44 100 is a modified T44 85, we technically would call it. And well, this was designed to fit the 100, but obviously by the time this came out, the T54 was already being tested. So this vehicle was unneeded. Again, this has a dish gun on the top, so maybe useful for taking down aircraft. We'll have to see at some point when I maybe spade it. So let's get to the replay and let's see how he did, shall we? Now, I am going to say straight off the bat, sadly, he does die in the ice too, and it's a real shame because he was doing really well. I'm not going to lie, he was doing really well. But hey, we'll just have to see, won't we? So this is actually a pretty good battle right up to the end, so we are going to use the whole battle. Obviously, I'm going to skip the first part, which is obviously getting to the battle. Once again, I do have the Epic Thunder Sound mod still on. So we're going to skip ahead. I believe this is a 7.7 game. The IS-2 sounds nice for this sound mod. They can hit the artillery in the distance. And this Type 60 SBRG is going to be MrCatt's mate. Unfortunately, he does not get in the cap in time. But no matter what, MrCatt decides to back him up. And these two are actually going to do pretty well with each other. Obviously, arcade has changed a lot in tank forces. Normally you would have to... we'd see every single enemy tank every single time. Pretty much. Sadly though, you do not anymore. And well, you've got to really spot your targets. Gives it a more realistic approach, and I like that. You still get markers, and you still get your aiming reticle, but only at close range I've been able to discover. And well, MrCatt's obviously moving up to defend the capture point, and for some reason this MrCatt 3, I think is how you say it, it's an Israeli M60 pattern, decides to drive blindly around the corner, not even noticing his IS-2, and MrCatt moves him to another dimension. First kill. And with a 24-second reload on my current crew, because I don't have this thing upgraded at all, because I just haven't bothered, this IS-2 does take the piss to reload. Now this Type 60 is going to give MrCatt some well-needed help. And I'm going to call him just Cat for this for now, because I just find it easier. There you can see a Panther D. Obviously MrCatt doesn't know if he's going to fire a shot, but he decides to take it anyway. Puts one very luckily through the additional armor around the breech of the, or the barrel of the... Oh yeah, see, I forgot he was going to jump into an aircraft here. This is an MD-450 burrow gun, but he doesn't do much. He gets killed in his head on. Yeah, that didn't go too well for him. He does bring in another aircraft towards the end. I forgot to mention the aircraft. I completely forgot about it. I was going to do this video, or this replay, on the Monday. Obviously I'm recording on the Tuesday, but you can blame Bank Holiday Monday for that shit. But yes, very happy to see MrCatt sending in a replay. I do take any replays that include sim, except for naval. I do not take naval replays. That's my only exception. MrCatt sends that Panther A back to another dimension. I can hear Jane Prawn screaming right now. And that's his third kill. You will hear, obviously, duh, 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 duh. That's artillery in the distance. There's nothing much I can do about that. I do apologise. Here comes an IS-4M, which is a bit of a tough cookie, let's just say. But the Type 60 one-shots him and ammo racks him. And honestly, ammo racking sounds amazing with this sound mod on. So now MrCatt's obviously going to hold the position. He's got multiple enemy tanks coming into the actual point itself. Or approaching the point, shall we say. They really wanted to take A for some reason. Yet they could win with just 2 capture zones, which I found unusual for this anyway. MrCatt accidentally used his 46-ton monster to knock down a building which he could have used for cover. And here comes River 45, who has rushed up the lines like a boss, I'm pretty certain, to get to the M103, using the Magach 3 to do it. Obviously, MrCatt only brought 10 shells this game. He does have the additional armor plating around the turret, just to protect against heat rounds and things like that. Sadly, the M103 does kill the Type 60, but MrCatt avenges him by blowing him to smithereens. 4th kill. Obviously now MrCatt's on the reload, and well, it's nice too, it takes forever. Even with a skilled crew. And there's a Shah 25C who displays a remarkable lack of situational awareness up until this point. And there he goes, 5th kill. There's your ace. Well, in the IS. Now, for some reason, this T-44 decides dancing with an IS-2 Mod 1944 is a smart decision. Newsflash, there is only one spot where that T-44 is going to pen on that turret. And it's quite clear to me he doesn't know where it is. MrCatt, however, can do that. 6th kill. I think it's safe to say MrCatt won that argument. I mean, he had the bigger gun. He always has the advantage if he has the bigger gun. I don't know why that T-44 tried wrestling with an IS-2. He should have gone around the side, or tried to flank. But hey, dumbass Russian tank drivers. They just think, duh, we still Stolinium tank. And well, you're not. You're not invincible. And sadly, MrCatt is going to meet that end as well. You will hear jets flying over, that's because of Air Arcade being Air Arcade, or Air Tank, or Tank Arcade I should say. I am flipping losing my English this morning. But this is going to be a good battle for MrCatt, even though he does lose sadly the IS-2 as I mentioned. Obviously there's tank traps there, he doesn't want to take the shot. And what MrCatt is soon going to discover is that he does have a Tiger 2 coming into the capture zone with him. I think also a ZSU as well. See, even though I'm half awake, doesn't mean I'm not a dumbass. I mean, it's Tuesday, so I don't have to, well, I can be a dumbass and go to college because we really don't do much. It's Thursday because obviously you won't see this video for a bit. There's a Tiger 2 H. But by the time this video is out, I'd have seen Avengers Endgame. Obviously I'm recording this on a Tuesday. But this is going to be Well, it's going to be one of my favourite films of all time, I can presume that. But it's also going to be bloody sad because I reckon Captain America's going to croak it. Uh, Captain America, Iron Man's probably going to croak it as well. Obviously, by the time this video comes out, you'll see in the movie if you're interested in Marvel. No doubt the Digital Time Traveler and me will have a small discussion once I have seen Avengers Endgame. Next, see a Panther A, who's coming to assist the Tiger. And well, MrCatt is deciding which target to go for, and obviously he's confused at this point. He doesn't know which target to shoot, because obviously if he shoots one, the other one will rush him. Sadly, what he doesn't know is that there is a ZSU 57-2 coming to get his ass. And in the next few seconds, he's going to get bum rushed from behind. And there you can hear the tracks. And there we go. The ZSU ends MrCatt's reign of terror in his IS-2. 6 kills, 1 cap, I'd be well happy with that. But sadly his team just weren't supporting him on that flank. And here is a T-44-100. He said he was stuck, he was working on, well, I think he had parts, he was working on FPEs, from what I remember in the email. But he's put a hat on the rear, it's not as good as a bucket. And he's also put a bush on top of the engine block, which is quite interesting. And here's his second go in a plane. This is a G91 pre-series. I am actually researching this jet right now. And well, I don't know how he didn't kill him, but hey ho, doesn't matter. You got the assist for it. That was a Horton 229, but the 229 sadly shoots down the Volture. Now, MrCatt is obviously looking around for the ZSU. And while he damages the ZSU, he is going to come back for another pass, and I believe he does get him, if I remember rightly. But he does obviously lose the G91 doing so. Yes, he does, but he takes out the ZSU in return. Obviously, aircraft deaths in arcade tanks do not count towards your final score. So that, you don't have to worry about. But obviously now we're back in this T-44-100, which again, I still need to start driving. I will do the first drive of this thing and the IS-2 Mod 1944 sometime soon. But I've still got quite a few replays to get through. And well, I've also got a load of subscriber requests to get through. So I'm going to be a busy boy today. Obviously I'm going to try and clear out as many replays and subscriber requests as I can today. And well, that Panther A experienced a very bad case of turret flying off syndrome. And there you go for MrCatt's 8th kill. Now at this point in the battle I actually thought his team were going to lose. And I was so sad because MrCatt's team have done reasonably well. I mean, MrCatt's done excellent on his flank. I mean, he's done well to hold off as many tanks as he did on his own after the Type 60 died. But hey, he's doing well. And like I say with the chat, I am pretty certain that's Polish. It certainly looks like it. MrCatt, if you happen to watch this video, which I hope you do, buddy, do let me know. I'm very interested. I do like looking at specific languages. I'm not fluent in French, German, or Spanish. Obviously I'm fluent in English. But I do know a bit of Polish. I do know a bit of Japanese. And I also know a bit of Russian. Not much of obviously all those specific countries of origin. But I do know some. Very little though. So don't go putting Russian comments or something like that, because I won't have a fucking clue. I got a comment a couple of months ago on my old M1340 review, and it was just nothing but Russian, and I had no idea what it was. I soon looked at it afterwards, and it said, "Cancer whined, cancer died," or something like that. Apparently it's because I was using a good spot. And the Russian didn't like that. Well, all I'll say is to that Russian guy, fuck you. And there's a Tiger 2 105. Obviously, MrCatt does shoot it a bit low. Which is a shame because he could have killed this Tiger 2 if he'd aimed just a little bit higher. And sadly, he is beaten to the kill by another Tiger 2 105 on his team. Because this is arcade, it's a clusterfuck. But don't worry, MrCatt's going to get a bit more than he bargained for. That is luck at its finest. And that's his final kill. So well done to you, MrCatt. Very nice replay sent in by you. Like I say, I do accept Tank Arcade, Tank Realistic, Air Arcade, Air Realistic. I don't accept Naval, and I do accept Sim Battles. Except with my eyesight, I will probably not identify the tanks as well. But great job, like I say. Nice use of the T34 or T44 100, I should say, and the IS2 Mod 9044. Like I say, I still need to get those done and spaded. I also still need to do the Super Pershing and the T34 Heavy. I've got quite a bit to do. It's just I haven't been spading much recently. In fact, I've spaded nothing for the last 2 weeks because this, like the event and all that, just didn't give me time to spade anything because there's no point spading when you're just gonna get revenge bombed every 2 minutes. But hey, so thank you to MrCatt. If you want to, well, if you've got a replays or you want to send to me, put me in the email address that I link below as always. I will look at your replays. I will always use your replays, so don't worry about that. However, just so I make this point clear, Jane Prod 3, you're probably going to hate me for this, but I was clearing out my replays this morning and I accidentally deleted your TA152 or TA154 replay. To be honest, I wasn't all that keen on it for using it, but I didn't want to delete it. And well, I apologize about that. I will probably go back and see if I can find it in my recycle bin, but I always clear it out, so it's unlikely. So like I say, sorry about that, James, but thank you, MrCatt, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all on the next one.